Hi, I'm Scarlet Butterfly and I live in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire, and for the Sanctuary Virtual Steampunk Festival I wanted to tell you a little bit about a costume that I've been making during lockdown. So I think this is probably one of my best costume creations yet, and definitely one of the most technical. It's taken me quite a lot of working out to actually create the costume. So I have a fire sprite act which I currently do on the pole, but I wanted to do something similar but for a fire performance. And the costume that I have is not fire friendly at all. It has feathers all over it. It would go up in flames quite easily, I think, and that wouldn't be good. So I wanted to create something new, something more spectacular, but that is fire friendly. So I had this vision for this kind of amazing fire fairy sort of fire sprite sort of act, and I wanted to create a bodice that was essentially like a cage bra or samba bra, created out of a frame, but then decorated and with references to fire on it. So to have obviously the colours of fire on it, but also to have the flames and to kind of represent fire. So I had a little bit of a look around to see if I could find a basic samba wireframe, and quickly realised that it was going to be impossible to find anything that I could use as a base, really, and there was nothing that was my specific design, which is often the way. So I knew that I was going to have to learn new skills and to basically create this item from absolute scratch. So after quite a lot of research and talking to a few friends who are pretty clever really when it comes to working with metal, I realised that I was going to have to create something that would need to be welded, and I don't have welding skills. But what I do have is a friend who has welding skills, which is fantastic. So what I did was I spent some time actually sketching up a design for this this costume, and then I created it. And what I'm going to do now is just show you the finished item, and then I'll tell you a little bit about how I actually managed to make it. So this is the item. So if you can see here, that's it. So I'm going to just turn it around so you can see there that there are the references to flames on the bottom part of it. It's very twinkly, and then you can also see that there are flames around the bra cups of the bodice as well. It's covered in a combination of Swarovski and IMAZ crystals. I couldn't afford all Swarovski crystals, but what I've actually done is I've done, you can perhaps, if you can just see, I've done one Swarovski, one IMAZ, one Swarovski, one IMAZ, and I've done that the whole way round so that I've got pretty amazing sparkle. So I think on stage this should look pretty spectacular, and it's made exactly to fit my shape. So there you can see, I haven't fitted the straps on it yet, but you can see that that's what it looks like when it's on. So I think that will be pretty fab on stage. So I'm really pleased with the way that this turned out. I think it's definitely wearable art. So how did I make it? Well, what I did was I spoke to my welding friend, who very kindly sent me a big tube of aluminium welding rods of all different widths, and then I basically spent many hours bending the wires into the shapes that I wanted, and moulding them around my body so that it would fit exactly to my shape. After I had done that, I then kind of taped the whole thing together, and then I put it in a box and I sent it to my friend over in Chester. and he very kindly welded it for me and he sent it back to me. I wouldn't have been able to get past that point, I think, without having somebody with those skills. So big thank you to Ray, my wonderful friend, who welded this and actually made this thing fit together. So once that was back to me, I had this kind of steel structure, which I then spent time wrapping with black ribbon. So I spent perhaps about 2 days in total just painstakingly wrapping each part of this, each bit of the wire, to go around the whole thing and wrap it and then sew the ends together. So it was quite time consuming. And then that was the kind of third stage really of making the cage bodice. And then the best bit, of course, at the end, once the whole thing had been covered in ribbon, I then decorated it with the rhinestones, and I just used gem tack to stick on the rhinestones. So that part was by far the best bit of the whole costume. But I think it resulted in something that's pretty good. I'm really very pleased with the way that this turned out. So that's my lockdown costume, and I hope that in the not too distant future I will be able to bring this to a stage somewhere and actually do a fire performance. I'm currently working on the bottoms to go with this bodice, and I'm also working with somebody who is going to create a headdress for me which will actually be physically set alight. So it should be, I'd like to think that this is going to be a fairly fabulous act once the entire costume has come together. Thank you for listening to my presentation of my lockdown costume, and I'm looking forward to see what other people have got to show us too. Thank you very much.